Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome here, this is your host Muawiyah Taka, and we are continuing on our series Prophetic Chronicles as we discuss and explore the lives of the prophets alayhi salam, from Adam alayhi salam all the way to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. What's unique about this series is that we have a chronological view of all the prophets, how they lived, their environment, and we get to see exactly how the mission of Tawheed was delivered to mankind, why, and what happened when they ultimately rejected the message. So we spoke about Adam, Sheeth, and Idris, who were all before shirk or idolatry crept into the children of Adam. And then we spoke about Hud, Hud and Salih, which happened after that. Then we mentioned Ibrahim, and then they had the whole progeny of Ibrahim, and all the prophets and messengers that were sent to that lineage or that family after that. And we spoke about how that family of Ibrahim moved itself over to Egypt and how it eventually returned back to Bayt al-Maqdis. And they established the first kingdom upon Tawheed, upon Islam, as mankind developed that level of sophistication whereby now nation states now have armies and governments and so on and so forth, and that was established, that area there in what's known today as Bayt al-Maqdis. But we mentioned that obviously as time has passed, that became degraded and eroded. People started to return to sins and so on and so forth, and they had lost their kingdom. But then Prophet Shamwil gave them back, or pointed towards another king, returning back to them, giving them back a kingdom, where eventually we had the appearance of Dawood alayhi salam, where Dawood became king, and then from him we had Sulaiman, and that's where the story so far has come. We have got to the story of Sulaiman, where he met with the queen of Saba, and after that, well, I guess you could say during his reign, Sulaiman's reign, Sulaiman built a whole new temple, the Temple of Sulaiman, and that's essentially where the ibadah and worship of the Muslims at the time, or from Bani Israel, established itself in Bayt al-Maqdis. Now, between Younus ibn Nun, Yusha ibn Nun, where from the Prophet of Musa's time, between that and you could say Dawood's time, it was about 400 years. So that was how long a time span they had between that kingdom and the next one. And then after that, we have now the new second section of the story. And from that, we have a story of another prophet from Allah called Younus alayhi salam. Now, as Bayt al-Maqdis became most like this beacon, this center point for Tawheed, for monotheism, Allah entrusted sometimes some of the prophets to go to other neighboring nations and to call them to Tawheed. And from that neighboring nation is the nation of Nineveh, which is now an area called Mosul in Iraq. So he went there, as you all do, much like we've covered and seen before, calling them to the worship of Allah, calling them to the oneness of Allah and worshiping Allah alone. And as you can imagine, as we've seen many a time before, the people didn't listen. So he gave them a promise that Allah's punishment was going to come to you soon, you will see, and Younus left. So the story here has been the same. There's nothing really different so far from the story of Younus. The prophet came, message was given, they rejected, prophet left, and now it's time for the adhab, the punishment, to come. So as he left and went, at some point he boarded onto a boat to go somewhere else. And as he boarded this boat, there was a big, you could say, storm. The people of the boat were quite worried and concerned. Will they survive this storm? What's going to happen? And they feared, maybe the only way to really survive this storm is to reduce the weight of the boat. So it was contemplated, are we going to have to throw someone overboard to try and save the rest of us? So it was suggested, let's draw lots, draw straws. Let's see who gets the short end of the stick, you could say, and has to be thrown into the water. And the straws were drawn, and Younus was picked. The people of the boat didn't want to throw him overboard. They said, okay, let's do it again. And they did it again, and again it came out with Younus alayhi salam. So as It seemed to be the case twice already. They drove straws, and twice it came to Younus. At that point, they reluctantly threw him overboard. So you can imagine, subhanAllah, why would the Nabi be thrown overboard? I mean, did he do something wrong? As we've seen before, it's very possible, and it's not very possible, it's a common thing, that the Anbiya are tested. They are the ones who receive the most amount of tests from mankind. The Anbiya are the most severe in being tested by Allah, then the righteous, and then those after that less so. So he was tested by Allah. But Allah sent over a big fish. What was it? Was it a fish? Was it a whale? Was it a shark? Who knows? All we know is that a big fish came, a hoot came and swallowed him up. And in even one narration, it was mentioned that even after that whale swallowed him up, another whale swallowed that whale. Interesting enough. So, Allah alam, if it was two whales or one, but the point was, Younus alayhi salam was in the belly of an animal. Now, that's an amazing event to just imagine. A human being is inside the belly of an animal. But Allah commanded that the animal should not consume the body of this prophet Younus alayhi salam. So he remained in this body, worshipping Allah, having patience upon his situation, making dhikr of Allah, whilst this fish was taking him all over the ocean. It was even said that when he delved down into the deepest depths of the ocean, that Younus could hear the sings of the praise of the fishes in the sea. No doubt this is something that Allah revealed to him. There's ikhtilaf, there's difference of opinion as to exactly how long he was in the belly. Some say 3 days, some say 7 days, some say more. But the point of the matter is, he was in there for a while. Longer than a couple of seconds, longer than a couple of hours. He was there for a couple of days at least. And at some point, the fish was commanded to put him, or to eject him, or to spit him back out onto the shore. And it was said that when he came back on the shore, he came out naked, and then Allah sprouted a tree over him to cover him over. So this was the event of Younus alayhi salam. Now there's been discussion amongst the ulama. Did this fish event happen before going to the people of Nineveh, or did it happen after the people going to Nineveh? Allahu alam. But that's what happened when he was in the belly. But what's even more amazing about this story is that all while that was happening, what happened to the people? Were they destroyed? No. What happened was, after Younus left, the people saw that the adhab was coming, and they had a change of heart, and they decided to believe. The women, the children, the animals, the men, all of the people came out begging Allah and pleading Allah to save them and forgive them for their transgressions. Came out to the Maidan and basically subdued and humbled themselves to Allah, and Allah accepted their repentance. So these people of Nineveh were the few people, I think probably the only one we know, but one of the few nations that actually listened to the prophets, the message of the prophets, even after the initial rejection. Their story is a very unique one, but also shows that it is possible. It is possible to have the truth come to you and you accept the truth. And it was said that after the event of the fish, this is ikhtilaf, but it was said that Younus went back to go and teach them and educate them about al-Islam. That's the amazing story of Younus alayhi salam. And this is something that happened whilst the children of Israel had their own dominion and their own kingdom, you could say. However, as we've seen time and time again, the children of Israel began to return not only to the sins, but to shirk. It got to the stage, after many hundreds of years after Sulaiman, that they were even engaging in sacrificing children even to one of the neighboring gods. I think one of them was Baal. Now what's really interesting about this constant repetition, we see over and over again the same things happening over and over again. We see that Tawheed is one, the calling of people back to the worship of Allah alone. That message has been the same from Adam to Nuh to Hud to Salih to Ibrahim to Lut, Shu'aib, Ismail, Ishaq, Yaqub. all of them, Musa, Harun, all the messages being the same. However, the gods have been many. Sometimes it's physical idols, sometimes it's trees, sometimes it's stones, sometimes it's images, sometimes it's nature worship, sometimes it's the stars and the moon and the sun. So, although throughout time the gods have changed, but Allah has been one. The message has been one, and Tawheed has been one. So why does mankind always seem to deviate from that? The message, the same issue. Our enemy, Iblis, he has the same mission. The mission that he had to misguide mankind from the time of from Adam's time is the same mission he has to today. Given enough time, Iblis will find an avenue to try and misguide mankind and make them return back to shirk. It always happens, and it happened during the time or after Sulaiman. So Allah sent Prophet Armiya, which is known as Jeremiah, to the people of Israel, the children of Israel, to tell them Allah is going to send upon you a nation that will destroy you because of your actions. You're supposed to be upon the religion of Musa. Return back to so I'm inviting you to return back to the religion of Musa. Allah gave a long message to Jeremiah, to Irmiah, to send to them, to bring them back to the worship of Allah. And how did they respond? They put him in jail. They put him in jail. This was one of the constant things that kept on happening over and over and over again from the children of Israel. Eventually, it was rejection. Now, what should be understood here is that this wasn't just unique to the children of Israel. This happened to the children of Adam. The children of Adam have done the same thing, and Bani Israel were no different. So they put him in jail. Now, what's interesting is that very soon after that, as prophesied, a foreign nation from Babylon came, leader, to do exactly as prophesied, to come and destroy Bayt al-Maqdis, and to destroy the Bani Israel, the children of Israel. And that's exactly what he did. They came in and he conquered the children of Israel. And not only did he just conquer them, he destroyed the temple that Solomon had built. He confiscated the artifacts that they had, and also killed and slaughtered thousands because a majority of the children of Israel, from the women, from the children, leaving behind only a small fraction of those that were there from before. So some of them he slaughtered, a large chunk of them he took as captives back to Babylon. This was the event that happened to Bani Israel as a result of their rejection. And it was said that when this happened, after they were completely decimated and destroyed, news was taken to the leader. I think his name was Bakht Nasr, or something like that. That's mentioned in the books in Arabic. But I mentioned that there was someone in jail, and apparently he said to them that you were coming to destroy them. So obviously this is interesting. Okay, bring this guy. So he was brought forward towards this person, and he questioned him. Did you tell your people that I was going to come to destroy them? And that your God informed you that this was going to happen? He said, yes. And did you inform them? So you interrogated him and found out that exactly what has happened, he told them it would happen before time. And what did he say? Bi's al-qawm, how evil and wretched are people who imprisoned their prophets that came from their Lord. He never said my Lord, because he didn't believe, but it came from their God. So even the king who destroyed them recognized the khubth, the wretchedness that they had reached. So as this happened, during the same time, some of the captives that was taken back to Faris, or that area in Babylon, was Daniel. Daniel was also a prophet that was at the time of Jeremiah or Irmiah. And when he was taken back to that place, one of the ways in which they wanted to punish him was to throw him into a den of lions. So when he was thrown in that den of lions, being a prophet, Allah protected him, and the lions didn't go and consume or went to attack him. And people were surprised, what the heck, how does that happen? But that was one of the things one of the miracles that happened to Prophet Daniel. So it was said that Allah said to Irmiah or Jeremiah that Daniel is hungry and he's thirsty. gather some food and drink to go and take to him. But Jeremiah said, but I'm in Sham and he's completely somewhere else, different. How's that going to work out? Allah said, don't worry, do what you're commanded to do and we'll deal with the rest. So he gathered together the food and Allah sent the means to transport him from Sham all the way over to Babylon, where he was captive. And it was there he presented the food and drink to Daniel. After saying, Daniel, I've come to bring you food. And he said, and he was surprised. How do you know what happened? And he said, Allah has sent me to bring you food and drink. And then Daniel was surprised. He said, SubhanAllah, Allah made mention of me. So he was mentioned that Allah had brought him rizq. Finally, the last part of the story was where Jeremiah returned back to Bayt al-Maqdis and saw that it was completely destroyed. And he looked at this, and as those of you may know, as mentioned in the Quran, the one who went by a town that was destroyed, وَهِيَ خَاوِيَةٌ عَلَىٰ عُرُوشِهَا, and it was destroyed and decimated. And he said, how is this going to be brought back to life? How is this going to be resurrected? And Allah caused Jeremiah to die, to be dead. And he remained in that state for about 80 years. During that time, the children of Israel, after 80 years, the children of Israel noticed that the king, Bakht Nasr, had passed away and that they could return back to Bayt al-Maqdis. So they one by one returned back to that place. And then 20 years after that, Jeremiah was resurrected and he saw that this was brought back to life after it was previously destroyed. And this was the third era of Bani Israel, where they had the kingship. So the first one was from Yusha ibn Nun. Then after that we had Talut, and then we came to Dawood. And then after that we had the kingship that happened after, from the time of Jeremiah. And they had their kingdom, again re-established it in Bayt al-Maqdis, and it's remained until Rome came and destroyed them, and that was the last time that the children of Israel ever had a kingdom established upon Tawheed and upon Al-Islam. Inshallah, next episode we'll continue on our story, discussing the lives of the Anbiya. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.